This is the big picture. I'm Rich Swerbinsky with Onward and Upward Consulting, and our fine show is sponsored by our great friends at Depth. If you are a fintech, the fintech world, as Diane will let us know soon here, it moves very fast. So you need a strategic communications partner that can move at that speed with you. And the great team at Depth PR, just incredible team, depthpr.com, Carrie Milam, Leslie Colley, Lindsay Neal, fantastic leadership trio of Depth. And if you are a fintech that needs your story told, nobody does it better. And check them out at depthpr.com or get a hold of Rob or I, and we will get you connected with the fine team at Depth. So there we have it. And back again, Rob, good to see you. My esteemed colleague and co-host, Rob Chrisman. Rob, great to see you. How's things?
Things are good. Things are good.
The necktie, you had special occasions speaking tonight. What's going on there?
Well, Diane's on here.
Diane, okay. All right, yeah. So I busted out my best Patagonia vest for it. So there we go. So
actually, Rich, I just crossed over I know I've got the obvious fake background here, but I just passed over the Kansas River.
Love it.
And I'm parked in a cemetery parking lot.
Okay.
And having just spoken to the NBA Kansas City, which is a very, very good group. And yeah, great barbecued food.
I love KC. One of my favorite underrated towns in America, KC.
More fountains per capita than anywhere else, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And next time you're here, you should check out the World War I Museum.
There you go. Very cool. Well, good stuff. And this week, really, really pleased to be joined by our special guest, the co-founder and CEO of Tidalwave, Diane Yu. Diane, thank you so much for joining us. Really looking forward to the conversation today.
It is my pleasure to be here.
And Diane, if you could just tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about Tidalwave.
Oh, absolutely. So the concept is very simple. And we want Tidalwave's AI assistant, we call that solo assist, to be able to acting as your always on loan officer assistant, connecting with the borrower and secure permissions for them, evaluate the documents, create applications for you. Very simple concept. Everybody love it, right? So a lot of people has been saying that it can make that happen. It couldn't. And part of that's because the original tech stack is not ready. Now with so much change in the capability of technology involvement, and also with the recent breakthrough of agentic AI capability. So the step function is there, and the Tidalwave is riding on top of that step function to make that happen to you all.
I love it. It is kind of crazy. I mean, a good chunk, if not the vast majority of mortgage tech tools that were born 5, 6, 7 years ago, a lot of them not really viable anymore. To your point, Diane, its technology has evolved so quickly these last couple of years. And what you guys are doing, as you know, I have some very good friends, very smart friends that are early clients of yours and loving it. And it's a whole new world, really. And I'm super excited to get in the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. Good
Diane,
stuff.
where did you go to college?
Where did I go to college? Ohio University. I started at PKU, and when I came to the state, Ohio University.
You're a
right
Bobcat?
where Rich's home is.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. You're an Ohio University Bobcat then.
Uh-huh.
Let's go. All right. I like it, Diane. All right. Good stuff. So there we go. But Rob, before we get into all this amazing conversation with Diane on the future of tech and mortgage tech, we're going to drag this thing down into the gutter for a second here. And as usual, Rob, no shortage of bombastic news stories every week. We've been blessed with them. Some would argue cursed, but this week, of course, your guy Bill Ackman finally put together his release, the GSE's proposal, which surprised a lot of people because it was don't do another public offering now, just reintroduce them to the New York Stock Exchange. His belief, they're growing in value. Now he's a huge investor, and let them marinate for a little and gain value. merge the two entities, which he was on the record not long ago as saying he was not in favor of that, and which he would argue would, reduce the risk and create, which, I've been banging this drum for a long time, create a ton of cost savings if you merge the GSEs that could be passed along in the form of mortgage rates. And then, Bill Pulte, of course, Rob, a bunch of new news. The Washington Post put out a piece a day or so ago, basically just saying, listen, the Democrats' housing affordability will be their weapon of choice against Trump next November. And I bring that up because since then, a couple more pieces have come out. Bloomberg ran a piece 3 or 4 hours ago, again, laden with leaked Republican stuff, basically making the case that Pulte is too big of a liability for Trump. And then just like half an hour ago, it's announced that the DOJ and the FBI investigating Pulte for the mortgage fraud accusations against all the people that they've come out against. So, Rob, as usual, I throw that ball of whatever it is.
Squirming worms at me. Ball of squirming worms.
Where are you taking us?
So this is an interesting show, Rich, and it always is an interesting show because we talk about these things that are. I was just, for anybody tuning in who was just in the audience in St. Louis or in Kansas City today, you've kind of heard my spiel, but there are all these things going on, swirling way above our heads, way out of our pay grade, and whether it's moves by appointing a lame duck placeholder to the CFPB or nominating them to run it, or saying that the CFPB is going to run out of money, or Bill Pulte talking about the 50-year mortgage, or investigations and so on and so forth. All these things swirling above our heads in the industry really, really detract from, I would say, the folks in the trenches who are just trying to help borrowers and are just trying to, third-party providers who are just trying to provide a service for their clients, when all these things are going on way up there that, like I say, detract from our mission, which is to help borrowers. And the continued sucking the air out of the room by Bill Pulte, and supposedly he has quieted down his tweets. I think, talking to my connections, I've got one or two of those. The feeling is that the FHA has told the MBA and others to pipe down on assumable mortgages, on portable mortgages, on 50-year mortgages. It's almost as if the FHFA is saying, we know what Bill said, a week or two ago, but we're gonna try to sweep that under the rug. And it's almost as if something is going on with Bill Pulte's possible length of time at the FHFA. You've been saying for a while you expect him to fall at some point soon. I haven't disagreed with you in the slightest, and I think that the industry just really wants to focus on what the industry does and not worry about Director Pulte, or really the potential impact of the GSEs, a new IPO or release from conservatorship, or the possible impact on interest rates that may have if done incorrectly. So as you know, Rich, anybody can go out and buy stock in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. It wouldn't be a traditional initial public offering. We could own stock. For all I know, you own stock or Diane owns stock in them now. I think that it's a really complicated issue, and I keep writing about it and how difficult it is. You just can't wave your magic wand and release them from conservatorship. The intricate agreements that the government has in place with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are really complex. And the administration keeps talking about, we don't want interest rates to go up should they be released from conservatorship. And I think they're finding that more difficult to achieve than they thought. So it doesn't surprise me that Bill has come out with an alternative plan. He's got a lot of money at stake, and as does the entire industry. So I hope there's some success there. But with regard to Director Pulte, I wouldn't put a lot of money on that horse finishing the race.
Yeah. I do like the Ackman plan. I do like what he's proposing. To me, it makes sense, and we'll see what happens, but we'll know soon. I think all this stuff has got to come to a head soon because there's just too much at stake for the Trump admin. Affordability is the number one issue. They're already starting to lose on the issue. Obviously, the elections didn't go great from in early November, and I think you're going to see something soon. But again, I've been saying that for some time, so we'll see what happens. But Diane, moving on to rosier topics. Before we get into Tidalwave and agentic AI, all this stuff we want to get in with you. Your background is fascinating to me, and
because I didn't come from mortgage.
yes, I mean, so Diane's background, she was the CTO of Better.com. We all know them. But before that, Diane, you came from like high level TV advertising, like the tech side of it, right? Explain to the audience your very interesting past.
So I did not come from background as basically grown up in mortgage. I grew up in advertising technology, which is if you watch the TV and then the TV content is super expensive to create. So there's a lot of commercials that need to run going into the TV content. I created a company, and that company built from scratch, and creating the platform to power that.
Okay.
And we count all those top global media company as customer. Example like CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox News, all of those as our customer. So that's my background. It's very different comparing to mortgage.
I love it. And do you feel like when you got to Better, did you feel like that was an advantage to you, like having the clean slate, having technology background and knowledge, but coming into mortgage with like a fresh, cleansed perspective?
I think that's very unique about us. When I came in, and I do have the benefit of knowing what the technology could have done. And with a different industry, this industry is super complex with outdated capability.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an eye-opening experience. Also, the eye-opening experience got me to learn a lot more about mortgage, understand the complexity, and came away with the understanding, with my best knowledge about technology, and this industry can be changed.
Diane, Rich always says that about me to my face, that my capabilities are outdated. So you're really hitting home there.
Well, at any given point, everybody's capability is outdated, right? Because I was sharing on stage, I believe, at the AI Summit, the high school intern come up with a solution that I didn't even think about.
Wow.
So we all, at a certain point, and our knowledge, our experience will get outdated if we don't evolve.
Love it. Ohio MBA legend.
No one's ever accused me of evolving.
It's what you have Robbie for. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah. Ohio MBA legend and good show friend Bob Niemi says, "Go Bobcats!" In the chat. I didn't realize Diane was an OU grad, but yeah. So good stuff. Diane, the Tidalwave origin story. Tell us where from you're the CTO at Better to launching this company, now making some great progress in the industry. Tell us about that vision and that story and the problem ultimately you were looking to solve with it all.
So we want to solve the problem from a different way, right? After I left Better, I was like, everybody in this industry, when the interest rate is favorable, they all run out hiring a lot of people doing the origination. When the interest rate turn a different turn, and everybody so painfully have to let go a lot of people. And I want to change that. That was the reason why after I left Better, I was like, you know what? I have to look at this. There has to be a better way of doing this. And there has to be a better way using technology to change everybody's life so that they don't have to worry about it, right? When the interest rate is favorable, they have this loan officer assistant helping them to do all those work. And then when the interest rates are taking a different turn, they don't have to worry about a lot of people going to lose job. So that's how we started Tidalwave. We just happened to start at the right time.
I think your timing was great. And my last opening question before I pass the baton to Rob, agentic AI, Diane, is like, it's one of the buzziest, terms and phrases of the last few months, as AI has become so much more embedded into all of our lives. A lot of talk these last several months about agentic AI, which was, of course, what your platform is built on. If you could, for our audience, demystify the agentic AI phrase. What does that mean? What does it do? Why is it a leap beyond normal standard AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I reserve the right to be wrong about everything about AI, because AI so far has consistently outrun my expectations. Okay, so let me just get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let me also start by sharing a quote from a customer. A Tidalwave customer famously said, don't give me a list of to-dos as if I got another boss. Can you just do it already? I just don't want to, review, and then I want you to review your plan with me and tell me what you have done. There are two keywords in this quote. The first one is review. The next one is to tell me, 3. So apparently I cannot count. So review and then tell me. So when you put that in the perspective, it is not about Gen AI. Gen AI typically is called artificial general intelligence, or AGI, and refer to an AI system capable of reasoning and learning like a human. But it does not review because it's reasoning like a human, go out, do its own thing. It does not tell you. So it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The second one is people typically do is ChatGPT. And ChatGPT excel as a text generation,
Mm-hmm.
but worked reactively. It quits content only responding to a user. So it does not plan and does not take actions. It's also not good enough. Then what is it about the agentic AI, right? So agentic AI combines the multiple AI models to act with a high degree of autonomy, which means that it brings the reasoning and also bring an iterative type of planning process in multiple steps, allowing the human to review, allowing the human to look at the plan, and also tell the next step. And this is why agentic AI is the perfect solution to be able to close the last piece for the mortgage technology. And that's the huge difference. And that's why Tidalwave's AI is powered by agentic AI.
I love it. Very well said. Very well laid out. In even a way, maybe Rob, did you understand all that? That was pretty good.
I'm there. Diane, I had a question to get into the weeds a little bit here. Let's say I I run vendor management for ABC Mortgage. We're doing $200 million a month. And I come to you and I say, I hardly know anything about AI. I don't know what AI can do for my ABC Mortgage. We have a distributed retail model with branches and loan officers and branch managers and regional, yada, yada. Very ordinary kind of mortgage company.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I even start? What can AI do for me? And how do I get my foot wet in the AI ocean?
So excellent question. This is a very typical retail model where you have a lot of loan officers in all different branches. and then you do a smaller scale mortgage operation shop. So in that particular case, there are multiple ways of starting. First of all, starting with having your borrowers, your loan officers customer, okay, and then come to the website either to apply on their own, or when the loan officer is at the weekend baseball game with their customer, so they can share a link with the customer if someone's thinking about applying a mortgage, buying a house, or doing a refi. They can share a link saying, hey, let's collect the different information for you. Let's start a mortgage application for you. So that's a very typical way a retail mortgage shop and could take advantage of the capability. And this is why the capability has to be embedded. We call that point of sale. If you are not embedded with the point of sale, there's no way you could experiment an AI capability, because you are not going to go to a place saying, let's experiment. That doesn't make sense. And your capability has to power a tool that mortgage professionals are very familiar with. That's why we're doing the point of sale plus.
Love it. This is The Big Picture, presented and sponsored by our great friends and partners at Depth. Deep market expertise, strategic communication, brand management, public relations services. If you are a fintech in the mortgage industry that needs your story told or told better, depthpr.com, or get a hold of Rob or I. The chat, as always, lively. Dana, I think what you're asking, Tidalwave's clients, mortgage lenders. So you heard Diane just say it. POS Plus is how you guys are branding that. And I guess, I mean, it should be somewhat obvious, but explain like the POS Plus, Diane.
Like a point of sale. So you start with a point of sale.
Mm-hmm.
The point of sale will interact with your borrowers, secure the permission, evaluate document, creating the mortgage application for you. Okay. And then point of sale plus comes with the AI agent.
Mm-hmm.
Our AI agent would evaluate the document as the borrower uploading the document, as the borrower giving us the permission. Our AI agent will also evaluate document for the loan officers so that they can, within the loan officer portal, they can upload documents as well. And then we evaluate everything. We call Fannie and Freddie to get AUS approval check. That's how the AI agent work for you, not just creating a whole bunch of work for your loan officers.
Interesting.
So, next question.
Go ahead.
I can look at, so let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, longer, longer than that. I learned how to use Microsoft Word to type an essay, or I learned how to use a spreadsheet to create an amortization table. I can go in now, and those products are still there. In fact, I still use Microsoft Office, Word to create my commentary, or if I've got some kind of use for a spreadsheet, I can go in, and the appearance to me is identical to what it was, say, 20 years ago. Is that, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but is AI 20 years from now, do you think, unrecognizable versus somebody who's starting to use it now? Is it changing that rapidly, or is there even any way to tell?
Wow, there are, as I said, I reserve the right to be wrong about AI because it's constantly outrun my expectation. So in the last 3 years, when I first saw ChatGPT became a thing, that was November of 2022, we were like, you know what? This could be the last piece that we can use to complete the puzzle, because it provides a human interaction. A human interaction is very much needed as a borrower who wants to buy a home, applying for a mortgage, because it's a huge thing, right? So we started that way, and then we quickly realized having the human interaction upfront as always, human-like interaction upfront as always, is not the best way to solve for the problem. And that's why we went in, we spent 2 years to plug in all of those vendors that needed for a mortgage loan application. So we build our point of sale, we embed our AI in. I think if you ask me 20 years from now, what AI gonna be? I do think AI will take a back seat. Today, everything's upfront. A lot of people don't really understand AI, so everything's about AI, AI, AI. I think the best AI is in the very subtle way to enable you, enable people, enable human, enable the loan officers to build a connection with their borrower. So AI, if it's at its work, you should not even notice it existed.
All right. You know, that's not, the word subtle is not a word often used in this environment. So that's nice to hear. I have a question, and I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole and talk about ethics. So if I look at biology and genetics and how science is progressing in those areas, whether it's human genetics or bringing back, you know, the dire wolf or a mammoth from a piece of DNA, just because a biologist can do that doesn't ethically mean they should do that. We don't want, you know, Jurassic Park. We don't want the Terminator. So on the IT side, speaking of the Terminator, do you think that the ability for programmers, for IT people, for AI itself, if it's writing code, do you think that limits should be put on it? And or along those lines, do you think that any state or federal government officials can even understand it well enough to govern or regulate it?
That's the challenge. So number one, I do think there has to be guardrail. Okay, a guardrail has to happen because otherwise, you know, you're right. It's just because, you know, technology can do it, just because scientifically it's possible, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So the guardrails is super important, especially when it comes to the mortgage origination, right? Because it's a big deal and it's a heavily regulated industry, which means you cannot really just go out and experiment on ChatGPT openly. That's wrong, that's incorrect. You cannot just use a thin wrapper to call them and then experiment. You're gonna accidentally leak your private information, your customer's private information to them. You cannot do that. You have to utilize a tool providing you the right guardrail. With the guardrail that take away all those PII information, you can still use the power of the text generation from ChatGPT as an example, but you can use that in a way that guiding the borrower to a mortgage application in a very accurate fashion and in a safe manner, which is the key. Otherwise, you will not see wide adoption, because the moment people realized, oh my God, my customer's information, my borrower's information to go out right in the open, it doesn't help the entire industry. And this is the reason why Tidalwave spends so much time and building our mortgage contextualizer to make sure that we're always guiding the borrower, guiding the loan officer to an accurate, high degree of confidence mortgage application. We're not talking to them about human clone. We're not talking to them about who has the best pizza. You know, we're only talking to them about the mortgage application, helping them to get through.
Stuff.
And then, but then do you think that it can be regulated? Do you think, I've seen a clip, Diane.
It has to be. It has to be.
I remember I don't remember the specifics, but I remember watching a film of Mark Zuckerberg testify before some 80-year-old senator about technology. And it was just, you could tell that he was on an entirely different planet than this 80-year-old senator who probably still used a rotary dial telephone, for all I know. I don't know. It seems like at the state level, they are trying to regulate certain parts of this. But at the federal level, I just wonder if they can ever catch up.
There has to be. So history tells us eventually it will catch up, right? Because the mortgage industry as an industry, if you welcome, and we have to welcome the right amount of regulation to make sure that, well, number one, we all playing by the rule, being compliance is the number one key. And number two, and you have to provide 100% complete audit trail. Otherwise, how you made the decision, how the conversation happened, and why it's happening, if it's not super transparent, then that's a problem. And when you evaluate tool, I do think those will be the number one requirement. And especially as big scale you have that you understand, and regulation in a lot of ways, when you put in the right regulation, it's going to help the industry to be able to move forward in a fair and a compliance manner.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Getting caught up on the chat, our guy Matt Van Fossen says Barry and Bob back to back today. Go SRLC. I don't know what SRLC is, Matt. I'm assuming that's Barry Habib and Bob Brokesman. I can't believe Barry Habib's still getting speaking appearances after those LLPA suggestions, but separate word. And then Joe Deline, I was going to ask you about, you guys, I just saw announced the new COO. It was yesterday or Monday or Tuesday, Diane. But yeah, tell us about your new COO. And evidently, according to Joe, he was an early Tidalwave investor.
Oh yeah, Jason Cao, and then he's in Chinese last name and English last name is pronounced differently. Sometimes I blend the two, and you guys already know I don't speak perfect English. So Jason, he joined as a partner and the COO. Yes, you're right, Rich. He's an early investor, and he invested very, very early before I even have a product. So he before he joined Tidalwave, he was the COO of the largest blockchain security company, a company called Certic. And the company that he joined, Certic, when it's about the same size as Tidalwave today, about 40 people. He helped the founder to grow that company into a unicorn, multi-billion-dollar company. So, and Jason, I feel so fortunate, and then to have him join us at Tidalwave, helped me to grow the company from 40 people to the next unicorn. That's how we go.
Love it, love it, love it.
Where do we send our investment dollars?
Late at this point, Rob. So we might have missed the wave, honestly. Yeah. So
the tidal wave is starting. We don't.
It's starting now. Yeah. So
yes, we never shy from busy investors wanting to give us money, but Jason saw the opportunity and saw the potential very early on when we just started the company like 2 years ago.
I love it. Very cool. You guys have come a long way in a short period of time, and exciting to see. So, Diane, back to agentic AI, because I just know it's of such interest to Americans, the mortgage industry. If you could provide some specific use cases where agentic AI is helping, get from loan application to underwriting submission, or, any specific use cases you think that would help clarify for the audience the power and your tech and what it does.
Yeah, so again, I come back to the quote that customer basically mentioned, which I shared earlier. When you think about it, and the capability should not just creating a list of to-do for you. as a loan officer. It should be able to say, this is the plan. If you approve, this is what I'm going to do, and bring back with the task that I has completed on the loan officer behalf. So in that case, if you think about it, from the very beginning, when the borrower granting the AI assist access to the information, for example, the bank statement, right? If they grant us the permission to download the bank statement on behalf of them in terms of applying mortgage application, we will be able to quickly identify the large deposits came in. And then we would be able to highlight there's a few large deposit. And then in that case, either we're up to a loan officer to review saying, yes, go ahead, getting a letter of explanation in, or we're saying, interviewing the borrower there on behalf of the loan officer, collecting the signature, presented with a letter of explanation already. So that's one of the action that agentic AI capability can take, okay? And even in the back end, as an example, when we typically do a demo and for an underwriter or for a loan officer in our loan officer portal, you can see that we can ask questions. What does this borrower can do to lower the DTI by 4%? So the AI capability will be able to evaluate all of those documents based on the pricing of the product. This is for loan officers, not exposed to the borrower, by the way. So the loan officer will be able to ask that question, getting answer back right away, right there. And then AI would come back. You have multiple options like this. And then you could, talk to the borrower about paying down on some of the debt, or you could do it differently. So those type of action would really help loan officer to reduce their time that they need to spend in order to figure out the answer. Okay, and then an ultimate goal would be that we can prepare all of those information so that when loan officer is done with submit the mortgage application, the underwriter take it and saying everything's good. So everything already checked, my document all lined up, and this loan is good to go. And that's our ultimate goal. And then that will be the ultimate measure that you can see and you should be able to see in the future in terms of quantifying how much time is saved for the lender to do the mortgage origination.
I love it. So yeah, and very specific. That was good. So I mean, what I'm hearing is like things that happen from application to underwriting submission, right? Somebody goes out and buys a Lamborghini or whatever, all the million different things that can happen that could take a loan application sideways. Your technology recognizing that stuff real time and providing real time alerts that can help remedy deals from going sideways. And then ultimately what it sounded like at the end is like the ultimate goal is like, we don't need pre-funding QC anymore, right? Am I kind of hearing that right? Like basically, real.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's already kind of like embedded in the process. So.
And that's the idea, right? The file is so clean. Before going into underwriting, and the file is going to be clean, and underwriter will save a lot of time for the underwriter to go back and forth, right? We want the file to be clean, and I want all the underwriters and love to receive file from Solo because they know it's in a high quality.
Yeah. Apologies to any pre-funding QC company executives in the audience, The other thing that I wanted to ask you, just, a lot of the conference travel season and, meeting with a lot of clients, I think lenders they're confused by AI in general right now. Like they feel like they need to be going to conferences and exploring AI options. But what I'm just consistently hearing is, after meeting with they are leaving more confused because, other providers in the industry everybody's selling AI, whether or not it's real AI or not. Any advice that you have for the legions of confused lender decision makers out there that are trying to just evaluate the AI landscape and to make good decisions for their company about what the future of their tech stack looks like?
So the reason people are confused, honestly, as I said, that I reserve the right to be wrong. I spend a lot of time on AI because Tidalwave is the core foundations built by AI. So I do spend a lot of time every single day to, basically follow up with the change, what's the latest possible from the AI front, right? Because you have a lot of company, a lot of dollars, investment dollar going in, and then the capability is evolving very quickly. So I would recommend, if you as a lender wants to evaluate, well, number one, basically do a really good due diligence and making sure the capability is with the level of the transparency that you need, and you can audit at all the time, and exactly large language model, what large language model and the capability is calling, so that you know where your data is. That's very critical. Number one, know where your data is, how they use your data, and then does it provide enough auditing for you to be your compliance department to feel confident, comfortable, this is operating within the compliance. And then lastly is whether that's also more important, very important as well, and to evaluate whether truly safe your loan officer, your mortgage origination team's time, whether it can take action, not just because, hey, look at how cool this is. It has to be able to take action to help you. And that's key as well. And then knowing that the capability continuously evolve. If you're making the right bet, you're going to see that company grow a lot faster compared to everyone else. And you can grow a lot faster with that company as well.
Love it. Bob Niemi notes in the chat, SLRC, I really should have known this as the executive director of the Ohio MBA, State Legislative Regulatory Committee. So my bad there. And thank you, Bob. Diane, the name, Tidalwave, I love the name. What's the origin of the name of the company?
We know the mortgage industry is super complex. Mm-hmm. So we want something that can constantly coming back, making improvement. Mm-hmm. Tidalwave really fit the symbol, and that it's a self-generated power to consistently wash away the complexity of mortgage until it's super clean.
Love it.
Nicely thought out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And the grand plans, is it to make it a broader platform, Diane? Are you taking this 6 months at a time, or and maybe and you just don't want to reveal it, but I got to ask the question: what the grand plans with
There's so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity, especially when you think about a mortgage to buy a home. That's the biggest purchase of average American, make in their lifetime. So number one, we want to make that super simple. And number two, we want to help the lender. So that's our first step. But with Tidalwave as the infinite symbol, we're going to evolve. We're going to continuously evolve as we're making the capability available and to all our customers. So we make really good traction. I'll just focus on that right now.
Love it. Very well said. And Diane, I want to thank you so much for spending some time this afternoon with our viewers and listeners. This was great. I really, really enjoyed the conversation. And you can share we'll be coming back to you to have you back on the show for sure. This was great.
Same here. Pleasure to be here.
And thank you.
And most importantly, thank you to all of our viewers and attendees. If you're listening to this on the pod, every show, I should do it more at the beginning of the podcast, but we do the show live. We had almost 200 people live today. It's good to put the faces with the names, the chat, always lively. So get to ChrismanCommentary.com and you can get signed up for the live version of this show, or continue. If you watch the live, subscribe to our podcast feeds and of course, our YouTube feeds as well. But once again, I want to thank Diane Yu from Tidalwave for joining us, and my esteemed colleague and co-host Rob Chrisman for making the time this afternoon. And thank you guys. And
thank you, Rich, and thank you, Depth.
And thank you to Depth, our great partners at Depth PR depth.com. Check them out. And thanks again, Diane. And looking forward to, having you back on the show.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday at 3 Eastern. Take care.
Oh, no, Rich. Thanksgiving. No,
Goodbye.
everybody. Thanksgiving.